the book of Nineveh had already 1,000 years to hand-me-down stories before they were able to do any writing. And so it's actually, you try to put a crowd in a room and you tell one person something, and then that person whispers into the next person's ear and so forth to the other side of the room. You have a totally different story at the other side of the room. So Nineveh's story already's got flaws in it. I mean, even though they kept stories real good, they still were close enough to the beginning. Their memory systems work very well. Today you can start getting to 40 and your mind goes to pot. When you get old like me in my 60s, you're lucky to remember anything sometimes. I'm just kidding, but back in them days, you did a pretty good job at remembering stuff you're told. So we'd guess. And anyway, there's a lot of good stories out there. Nothing to say they're right, nothing to say they're wrong, but they make a lot of sense. And they seem to be used as gospel by Christians for centuries. And now we just like to say they're just the lost books or the forgotten books or other stuff that doesn't you shouldn't take much heed in. However, you need to read a lot to find out a lot of stuff, and this type of stuff indicates that perhaps there were some other beings that God had Satan make, as the story goes, and since God didn't like what they did, destroyed the planets, now we have NASA sending stuff up to all the planets and moons and everything. We see something looking like that, how the land used to be something that possibly could have been alive and now is destroyed. And so, interesting stuff maybe to some. Other people don't want to fiddle with it. But the thing is, there is a lot to life that you have to look for to find. And so people turned to Cain, and Cain invented things. People went to Cain. Finally, there's nobody really left. Enoch took off to heaven. He was in good shape. Adam and Eve finally died in their 900s, and they kept their bones someplace. Noah was finally told, build a boat. He was in his hundreds. His kids helped him build it. Everybody laughed at him. Sure enough, it rained, and everybody died. So that only left Noah and his 3 sons and their 3 wives. So the whole world's supposed to have just these number of people. And so by then, though, the rules were you can have sex with your cousin, marry them, but your sisters and stuff, and brothers is a no-no now. It used to be yes. The only way to populate the world is have sex with your brother and sister. And so now you have enough cousins that you can populate the world slowly, but it'll start quickening up with cousins. Later on, things were going good, and finally the law was started. Moses gave the law and everything. Now they had real good rules. They had to be distant cousins, but in the same tribe. Once you had the tribes, you have to marry in between the tribes, but they have to be in the same tribe. But they also brought foreigners and all that kind of stuff, and they got incorporated into whatever tribe they got incorporated into. And but still, through this time, we have hints in the Bible, very vague. It's almost, you can't make anything of it. And so you take all this with a grain of salt, with the keen interest that it certainly would explain some things. And if we go by a lot of other people that say they have contacts with certain beings and so forth, we can laugh at them, or we can say, the story's pretty consistent. And even though it's not something to make Bible out of, it's just something to ponder and keep your minds aware that these all are things that will affect your life very soon. Many of the stuff has already affected your life, and you will, your life is even going to change even more. I guess there's something down in that hole down there. You can walk around down in there. Yes, I don't. At least there's something down there. Anyway, so the story goes, and then we got the Masons. They say they trace their roots back to after the boat landed on Mount Ararat, and the sons of Noah, and Noah came out with their wives, and began. Where am I going now? Began to multiply. We know for a fact in the Bible that one of Noah's sons sinned. I think he saw his father's nakedness or something like that. That's how the story goes. Anyway, so he became the black sheep. The Bible's not clear if he was absolutely forgiven, or if he had a resentment because he was now the black sheep of the family. And lots of people getting by. And hi, how you doing? Getting the high sign here from a group going by me here. Or maybe it was one of Noah's sons. And anyway, whatever one finally decided they wanted to keep the secrets, because Noah and his sons were pretty much photographic memory. After all, they lived in that first 1,000 years, and they knew about places that they keep the knowledge at. Some people kind of think that it was even way before horse and buggy days, if it wasn't even caveman days or something, for Adam and Eve and that first 1,000 years. Like there could be no technology, and so. You think about it for a minute. You got human beings, can't really forget anything. I mean, you have to just kind of think about it. If you're perfect, basically, you just came out of the garden, and your body got messed up a little because you come out of the garden, but you're still pretty close to the beginning, because you can still live 1,000 years. So here you are living 1,000 years. You learn everything everybody else knows, because that's what people do. We like to learn, and we learn. And after all, Cain went out and invented things, made cities and everything. You have to invent a lot of stuff to make a city. Now we might want to make the city look like something pretty simple, but we got some pretty remarkable, pretty simple cities, that are 5,000 years old or more. And then you can get into the thing that some people believe that first 1,000 years was more like Atlantis. Well, Atlantis may go back a little bit further. Atlantis might be more into the likings of the people that lived before Adam and Eve. I'm glad you finished watching the second part, Part B, and hope that you also watched Part A. If not, you can click on St. Peter's Part A, or go on to St. Peter's Part C to finish up this TV program that I aired last year.